especially for heart opening. Then bringing the other arm right over our elbow, gently pressing down, and then releasing the left and bringing it to the back. This may be the first step. This second, and if you can find them, that's fine. But here we don't compete, and we don't force ourselves. We accept where we are, and together we affirm, I love, respect, and accept myself deeply and unconditionally. And we take a deep breath, and then slowly release the left and then the right, and move around just like you're dancing, or just release any tension that you have created. Now we inhale and raise the left arm all the way up by our ear, and then exhale, again patting ourselves on the back for such a wonderful people we are, with good intentions. And we are now increasing our well-being on the heart level. Heart is very important for us to release all negativity. And then we bring our right arm behind. That's first step. And second, and then if you combine, you see that two sides are not equal, and it's a little challenging. And this creates more empathy, as our two sides being so different, then we don't expect the same things from other people, the same thought processes, the same experiences, so that helps us respect one another further. And here we say, affirm together with love, I love, respect, and accept my family, my friends, my community, my country, humanity, all living things, fully and unconditionally. And slowly we release the bottom arm and then the top. Again, gently move your arms like you're flying, like butterfly, releasing all tension. And then the third one, because the heart is so special, we have 3 energetic centers above the heart and 3 below the heart. That's why the heart, when it's clogged, all these conflicts are created. And it seems like we are all as humanity clogged at this time. So we call this one secret prayer. We put our arms behind us. If this is all we have, we can hold on to our elbows. But if we do have the flexibility, we can put our hands in our palms together, fingers pointing down to our first energy center. Now, if you do have further flexibility, you may want to turn your fingers pointing up towards your crown, which is our connection to God and deity. Here we have our eyes closed, so we're not distracted from others, and we are deeply connected with our heart, and we release the negative feelings that are weighing us down as an individual as well as humanity at large. We release all negativity, frustrations, disappointments, guilt, and humiliation. And together we affirm, I open my heart and send love to all those who have hurt me. Why do we send love to people that have hurt us? Because they are our best teachers, our best shamans, our best priests, goddesses, or gods. We learn from those negative experiences, and what do we learn? Forgiveness, patience, unconditional love, empathy, and unity. Now with our deep breath, we release slowly our arms down our back, and then gently circle your wrist, and then the other way to release any undue stress. Have a seat. Thank you, everybody, for joining the heart-opening exercise. So everything is energy. Our thoughts started, and then our emotions amplify it, and then our behavior, what our hands and our body and we do in our life really makes it, maximizes it, and stamps it for us. Thank you. Next. So there is no peace without healing. So you see, I slightly changed the topic. Instead of focusing on religions, I thought we focus on our health. And there is no peace if we are not transforming our trauma and healing ourselves. And every country and every state, every individual has experienced some kind of trauma, starting from birth as a trauma. So traumatized people are less able to empathize with others. The research shows this very clearly. Traumatized people also attract more trauma. Traumatized people are not grounded if they are not healed. So therefore, they interpret and perceive everything they experience through those traumatized lenses. And then finally, there's a wonderful saying that trauma that is not transformed, it will be transferred to whom? Of course, all the other generations. So we're carrying not only our own personal trauma, but we're carrying our ancestors' trauma. But when we choose to heal, then we transform those into meaning-making and positive lessons, which guides us through a more harmonious life. Next. As Aristotle said, education that is only focusing on the mind is not education at all. We need to engage the heart and the gut as well as the intuition. As Ross mentioned earlier, when intuition comes from judgmental, unhealthy person, it is judgment. It's no longer intuition. It's only intuition when that is from authentic, healthy, balanced, harmonious person. So a lot of people in religious denominations I experience have a lot of judgment because they are focusing on certain scriptures and in a way excluding others. And the three religions as Islam, Christianity, and Judaism have a lot of egotistical script in the holy books. I am the only God, there should be no other gods. I mean, when you look at it psychologically, you say, what's wrong with this? This is a narcissistic person here. Why are you repeating this over and over? Next, please. So even with the United Nations, the 17 sustainable goals, look at number 3 is about well-being and health, and 4 and 5 and some of the others about equality, and 16 addressing on peace, importance of peace, and then 17 partnering, such as this platform here with other like-minded organizations and academia to reach our goal of peace. Next. So for that, we have several publications. Forgiveness and Reconciliation was the first book that we published as part of Peace series of American Psychological Association. And this has chapters from every country that has experienced a traumatic past, such as Rwanda and Syria and Ottoman Turkish genocide, and even the prisoners here in America. Next. And our 2 volumes on mass trauma and emotional healing around the world, focusing on rituals and practices in each country, indigenous practices, to overcome the trauma, transform the trauma for well-being. We also have an instructional meditation CD that helps you focus and transform ancestral trauma. Starts with the original sin, and it goes through the indigenous experience, slavery, and all the genocides, all the way focusing on Sudan, and of course, Syria had not started. We published it at 210. Next. And our organization, Meaningfulworld, is affiliated with the United Nations, and we have a minimum of 6 to 10 programs annually. We just had a program last week focusing on sustainable peace and exactly what the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, focus on. Next. And we have to be mindful what Pema Chodron said, that nothing will go away. These wars and conflicts will not go away until we have learned what we need to learn. And that is something that we need to come together and find that meaning, find the lessons from all the conflicts. I don't think we need any more conflicts. We have just so many of them to learn from. And once we do learn, then we don't need to repeat them, is what Pema says. Next. So compassion is nurtured by empathy, and that is the roots of a healthy relationship. Not something that forcing the other person to be a certain way, but being with and sharing with the other person, understanding their pain and sorrow without inserting our own trauma, without comparing our own past with the person. Being there with that person who's sharing fully and empathizing with them. Next. So the good thing about empathy is that learned, and it's something that we all need to learn. What we do socially is more sympathy. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, your mom died. Yeah, my brother died last month. You know, life happens. That's sympathy. But when you are empathizing, you are giving your full attention without bringing your own trauma. That's a major difference. Next. So therefore, we put together a very organic 7-step integrative healing model. And some of you may have the handouts, yes. And if you don't, you can visit meaningfulworld.com, and we have the 7-step for children, for older people, and for just general adults. So the most important thing with the 7-step is that it's an integrative model. That means it combines many theories. We start with assessment. Assessment is very central. And we have the anger wheel that Lorraine Simmons, our vice president, is going to distribute. It's for you to identify which feeling around the wheel that you experience most around the religious issues, and pass it to the other person, but write it somewhere on your notes. If you are identifying as such as frustration as you're feeling, you will ask yourself from 1 to 10, 10 being the most severe feeling, what level am I feeling at this moment? So you identify the level. It's just like a thermometer. We don't have emotional thermometers. Therefore, we use our knowledge to evaluate and scan ourselves and say, okay, from 1 to 10, what level is my frustration? My frustration with religions is kind of high, maybe 8, 9. I am working on it, and I am here continuing to work on it because I've seen a lot working in disaster zones in 45 countries in the world, that people use even the disasters an opportunity to push their position or their religion. We are in the middle of Buddhist Sri Lanka after the tsunami, and we see born-agains and Jehovah's Witnesses with van full of their documents trying to convert the Buddhist survivors who are traumatized, and they are taking advantage at this difficult situation. We have seen this over and over in Haiti after the earthquake, in Armenia after the earthquake, and this is causing a lot of problems, taking advantage of suffering to push one's agenda, and usually they're religious groups doing these things. The second step is having the chance and opportunity to express your feelings. May we go to the other slide so I can go step by step? Sure. So we did the step 1 assessment, which is developing your emotional intelligence. This is something very important. As IQ, we are born and we cannot change that. But EQ, emotional intelligence, you can learn even when you are 90. We can teach it to even autistic children. We can teach it to adolescents who are confused and displaced. So it's a very important tool. Next, you will see the anger wheel. Anger being a secondary emotion. All the other feelings around are very important to consider. I had a gentleman, CEO of a large financial institution, come to me last week saying that he has anger management issues because he's exploding at home with his wife. And then when he saw the wheel, I said, anger is only secondary. Can you show me, can you just visit around this circle and identify what is really underlying your anger? And then it was aha moment for him. He said, oh, I know, it's hurt. I feel that I am so hurt for what the betrayals, etc., that the wife had caused him. So then the whole thing shifted. He found out that it's not anger management, it's the hurt. And he started working on those feelings of hurt, and the anger slowly dissipated. So try to be mindful of identifying your emotion as part of emotional intelligence, describing your emotion, and then expressing your emotions, and then letting go. And then we're going to teach now the next step after what happens. Next slide, please. So here we are some photographs for you, how Haitian survivors after the devastating earthquake are going through the process of the 7th step and releasing their feelings. And here we're in Palestine, in Camp Ida. We're working with generational transmission and mothers and grandmothers who are anxiously waiting for their sons to be released from Israeli jails, and they don't even have rights to visit them, some of them. Next. So step 2 is expression of feelings. It's very important to release, to describe, to tell your story. You may not be able to tell it to someone because you need to find a non-judgmental person to share, but you can journal, you can write a poem, you can write a blog. Now we are in the social network system. Blogs are important ways of releasing. And you can talk with the therapist, with your spiritual leader. It's very important not to rely just on our friends. Next. Here we are examples from Haiti, how teachers and other orphanage staff members are releasing their stress. Here in Palestine camps again, mothers are expressing their feelings and frustrations. And then after the second step of expressing, releasing, it's empathy and validation. This is based on Harry Stack Sullivan's school of thought, interpersonal theorist, who said that without validation, then there's no closure. So we then, without validation, we're walking around open wounds, wounds that oozing pain and pus and suffering. And the other person is also suffering, and two people in pain cannot help one another. That's the situation in the Middle East between Israelis and Palestinians. Israelis are still generationally affected by the Holocaust, and without knowing, unconsciously, they're displacing their trauma on their brothers and sisters, of course, Palestinians suffering from that. And Palestinians losing their lands are also traumatized, so they can't empathize with the Israelis. So you have two groups of traumatized people suffering with their wounds oozing of pain and frustration and hurt and betrayal, and no one is there to empathize. Next. Then here we are working with families, Syrian families in Jordan. Next. And the main shift is the fourth step. The first three, we are still a victim. We're poor me. I went through so much pain. Can you imagine? And I want help. I want sympathy, empathy, any help I can get. But then with number 4, I'm no longer a victim. I become a victor, because now I learned something so deep and so meaningful that has transformed my life. And I don't see myself, poor me. No, I see myself, wow, I am strong. Just like what Nietzsche says, that which does not kill you makes you stronger. So with that, I have 3 minutes. I'm going to have to think of quick skipping. All right, next one, quickly. So some of the positive lessons learned that was shared after 9/11 right here in Ground Zero were like, this is opportunity. Now I know, I learned about other cultures. Now I know what is the difference between Sikh and Islam. Now I am one with my neighbors. We know one another. We can help one another. Next. And the children, though, we have to always be mindful of the children. Here, after the earthquake in Pakistan, almost 90,000 people died here, and children were smiling, but you see the anger in their eyes, right? They were being used, but again, those people, organizations, or individuals who are coming and abducting children for their very abusive either sexual or labor camps. And here we are in Jordan training and preparing the staff of the Jordan River Foundation who were working with the Syrian refugees. And I'm glad Susan Smith was a previous speaker. She was with us on this mission. And the fifth step is about gathering information that is useful for your healing. Of course, now with all this confusion of websites and all the opposing information, we have to be very vigilant in selecting the information that is most positive and improves our energy, not sucks up the energy, but it builds the energy. Next, please. And then here, examples of how we're working with the psychologists and healers in Haiti. Here, we are also working with the generational transmission. We found out through our research that the Ottoman Turkish genocide, for which my father is a survivor, has passed to 2 generations. So it's something that indigenous Native Americans knew this all along, but now we have scientific research to show that, yes, these are passing through generations. Trauma that is not transformed will be transferred to other generations. Next. And our motto in our organization is, when one helps another, both become stronger. And here in Haiti, they wrote it in both Creole and French and put it in the orphanages that we were working on to remind themselves that they too have to help others. And disarming ourselves after identifying negative feelings, that's the anger wheel is going around. Everybody has identified, yes? And then we need to disarm, release, work through, and let go, because that pain and that suffering, we don't have external drives and USBs, emotional USBs. It's all affecting us physically as well as spiritually. Next. And here's some photos from our exercises, soul surfing exercises in Haiti in another orphanage. Next. And we also teach assertiveness communication techniques. We don't have time for that. Next. Next. Myths about, quickly, I would review myths about forgiveness. People have many excuses about not forgiving. If I forgive, I will forget. If I forgive, you will do it again, etc. People believe in many myths to not forgive. But forgiveness not only is good for your spirit, but to your health as well, physical health. Next. And chronic stress causes also horizontal violence. Continue. Increases our levels of cortisol, which makes us always want to be either fighting mode, frozen, or just laid back, frightened. The 6th step is connecting with ecology, Mother Earth, the trees, and the earth that God has created for us, but we don't know how to use it, and we abuse Mother Earth. And that is coming back to haunt us in terms of number of disasters have increased since global warming, and number of people are dying more than in the last 25 years. Therefore, we are establishing peace and forgiveness gardens. Here, Susan and our team are really making gardens out of stones, clearing the stones, getting dirt and plants, and really helping a place for people to come and commit for peace and pray together and reflect. And the last step, the 7th step, is using the breath and movement, just like we did to open our heart, as well as affirmation. And in addition to natural essential oils, I'll pass these 2 around for you to try them. One is lavender that endangers, it brings in relaxation, and the other is grapefruit, which is to open our heart and bring joy. So you can open and smell and really feel the difference that it brings in you. Next. And here we are working in Haiti. Continue. And here we're in Palestine. We're doing the assertiveness exercises. And in all of our work, we emphasize the importance of service, giving back to the community. Next. Continue. And here we're doing our heart-to-heart circle of gratitude and love in a camp in Palestine. And here we're in Haiti doing the warrior pose for endangering, improving the kids' self-esteem and self-impressions. And here we're giving gifts to the orphans around the world, these handmade dolls that Lorraine has made. And in the heart, there is a message. And here the message is, you are loved, you are a spiritual being with a physical body, and you are one and only. And these messages are written by their language in Creole or whatever language countries we go. Can you quickly switch to the last 2 slides? Here we have the Ubuntu circle. Forward, please. And here we have the heart-to-heart circle of gratitude in University of Haiti. And here we are giving the dolls to the orphanage children. And here, the 7th step in Palestine, Israel, used with the peacemakers. And you see the photo before the workshop where I had to literally stay in the middle to divide and separate them because they were so angry at one another. And at the end of the workshop, they were embracing one another. Continue. And we end our workshops and programs with hugging, as hugging generates acceptance and heart-to-heart connection. Next. And here is our last 2 slides. This is a sculpture around the corner at the Cathedral St. John the Divine, and a Native American has built this, and you see 6 human silhouettes, and the red dot at the end is the fetus, and the message here is that always be mindful about decisions that you make in life, as it is going to pass on to 7 generations. And our last slide next is one woman's work in southern India. And here in the valley, she puts seeds of flowers for 25 years single-handedly. And at the end, she's now long gone, and look what she has given us, this aesthetic tapestry of beauty and harmony that we can all enjoy even though we don't know her. So the choice is ours to destroy or to build and share this with the next generations. My last question to leave you with is, where are your seeds? Where are your flower bulbs? Where are you planting them? And how consistent are you in nurturing them? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.